underrated, somebody who I'm matched up with. To me, Melo, dog. I'd rather guard LeBron, Kobe, T-Mac before Melo.
His size, man, and his strength, and he knows how to use it. So, he throws his weight around. If you look at the game, look at some of the other players, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, some of these other guys, they're either all the way to the basket or long range. Melo can post up, can finish at the rim. He has a mid-range game. He has a 3-ball game. He can pull up left, can pull up right, step back left, step back right. So that gives you a lot of options as an offensive player. And as a defender, you got to try to pick which one you want to use to throw him off of rhythm. But it's tough, though, because he's comfortable doing all of those things.
For a long period of time, he was the most difficult for me to defend of all of them. His game was nasty. He could get nasty and bully ball you. And if he had that 17-footer face-up going, it was over. It's game over. If he's not even a 3, I'm talking about if he was able to post up in that mid post and turn and get into his, and he had that jumper working that night, there's nothing you can do. I can finally remember many nights, from Denver Melo to New York Melo to him being an absolute nightmare.
He was by far the toughest from an individual standpoint, like how physical he played. That era, there wasn't no sweep through. Guys wasn't, trying to draw fouls. It was about a bucket. Go get a bucket. And so it was always just staying tight with Melo, contest everything. He was so good at creating contact and being physical. I was just going to be in for a long game. And after games, literally, bro, I would have ice bag here, ice bag on my knees, sitting in a cold tub, just how sore I was, how tired I was.
Dog, he used to hurt my chest because he bulldog. He a bulldog.
Because he'll shoot, miss, go get it. Shoot again, miss, go get, he had that quick jump. He'll move you out the way, push your ass out the way, bully game.
He gonna be physical. He gonna post you up. He gonna hit you with a shoulder in the chest. You gonna be hurt after the game. He gonna make you feel this 30.
Funny story. The first time guarding Melo was when he was in Denver and I was in Indy. Danny was ahead of me, right? So Danny was originally supposed to play. We get a call that Danny slips in his bathtub.
What?
Sprains his ankle. And so he's out for the game. So
he didn't want to play that night.
He didn't, and that was the story.
He didn't want to.
Guys would say oh, you got Melo-itis today, huh? Danny was not trying to play that night, right? So we get the call, Danny falls, and it was a game where I'm not expecting to play. I'm not playing at this point. I'm playing very spot minutes. So my preparation going into the game, I'm playing video games, not locked in. And I get the call literally 30 minutes to an hour before my bus time. Yo, Danny's out tonight. You're going to start. You got Melo. So I got Melo. Bro, Melo went for 40. He hit me with everything.
Damn.
40, 3-ball, deep 3-ball, mid-range, post-game. So I'm yo, this dude is serious. That was in my mind. This dude busted my ass. Melo was a problem.
The big bucket. That's what I call Melo, man. What Melo's been able to do over his entire career it's been phenomenal. He's an NCAA champion. He's a gold medalist. I think it's 4, maybe even 5 times. Who's done that? He's done some things in his career individually that not a lot of people have done on the planet Earth. And to watch him early on in his career, ISO guys, he's one of the best isolation players that I've ever seen. The jab, jumper, mid-range, unstoppable. The hang dribble pull-up, unstoppable. And he can post you up.
Melo was, one of the guys for me. That 03 draft class is special for me. I was 6, 2006 is probably when I fell in love with basketball. So, LeBron has always been my guy, Carmelo, D-Wade. And I remember my first ever preseason game was against the Blazers, against Carmelo. And I got him on the switch and I lost the ball. I couldn't even dribble. I was so shook. So that's what that picture is. It's I lost the ball and picking it up. Oh, where do I go now? But now I have, great relationships with those guys. And anytime I see Melo, it's nothing but love. So
loved watching Carmelo growing up. Loved watching him play. I wanted to see in person how he created his space. Because, it's always one thing to see it on tape, but when you're actually playing against, you get to see their footwork and how he utilizes his body. And I'll never forget that. So he jabs me. I'm oh no, he didn't go. Pump fakes me. I kind of raised, jabbed me again, and then shot the shot. And I was man, that was a tough move. Man, I need to try to add that to my bag.
He could get his shot off like this. And I added that to my game, that quick jab, and he'll put that bounce and then step back. And you could not guard it. It was unguardable. So that's why you could never give him space, because you're going to play on your heels. When you're guarding Melo, the fastest first step I've ever seen for a guy that size. He had the quickest first step. So you had to play tight defense on Melo. If you let him face you up, oh, it's over. It's over. You couldn't allow Melo to face you up.
The first time I see Melo play, we're in New York. We're playing in this same tournament in college. I'm at Marquette. Melo was at Syracuse. And like, I heard about LeBron, but I didn't hear about Carmelo until leading up until like that season in college. You know, I'm thinking I'm one of the best players in college, and I hear about this kid who's supposed to be the best player in college. And I'm like, let me check him out. And he had 30 and 10, and it was light. It was effortless. And I was like, oh, and in New York, in Madison Square Garden, we were playing in the same tournament, and I was like, oh, he's the truth.
Second year Melo. It was dope, man, seeing the boy development. He was still a kid. I'm saying, seeing his development. Very, very talented, man, score. No, just seeing the way he could put that ball in that basket, man, effortlessly. And his work ethic, man, gym rat. No matter what it was, man, he always working on that craft, man. So, shout out to Youngin.
Man, Melo was the highest scoring duo in the league at the time.
How talented was that team?
Man, I was about to say,
Melo, you, Kenyon.
When I tell you practice was a movie every day. And it was crazy because this is right after Kmart came from Jersey. This is second knee surgery, and he came back jumping higher.
Yeah, crazy.
I was like, man.
He was a monster.
Then we got MC, long as blocking. Give me that.
Yeah.
AR, then Chauncey came. It was like, it was wild.
Man, it was so much fun. I feel like at the time, I was like 32, into my prime, still good, but I can't really carry the team. But he could carry it every night, you know what I mean? I really needed him, and he was unstoppable.
People don't understand he could give it to you on 3 levels, however you wanted it.
I mean, it was incredible. This dude was the most talented dude I ever seen, ever played with. And I needed him at that time in my career, and he obviously needed me too. So it was it was literally perfect. And he listened, and Melo, he never missed a practice. He practiced hard. He come to work every day. It was beautiful. I just was like, damn, why they can't get over the hump?
We had a coach that was able to manipulate our minds, so we weren't mature enough to be like, yo, man, let me holler at you real quick. You such and such said this, let me talk to you, right? You know what I mean? Opposed to, oh, that's what he said? That's how you feel? All right, bet. Well, I'm going to go get my 35, or I'm going to get my 20-something, and then it kind of wedged the gap within everybody into almost just get your stats.
Chauncey was like a sigh of relief because of who we had as a handicap as a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Chauncey, like, didn't let him fuck it up, basically.
Right. But then, you know, you start to just make people refocused. And I come, and you know how I come, you know how I am anyway. I'm every day with it. So I think they kind of understood, like, damn, it's a new sheriff. Like, we gotta square up a little bit. And it was so much fun. It ended up being one of my most fun seasons, being able to help turn that thing around.
So Chauncey knew time, score, who needed to do what. He got everybody involved first. Of course, Melo go get his touches throughout the game, but in the fourth quarter, it's like 15 take us home. So that was dope for him to be that and to run the show. And that's what was the difference, man.
I think we get so caught up in how this leader does it, how that leader does it. Melo is his own version of a leader. Melo was one of those guys that I've never felt so safe. As far as the games went on, I started realizing this dude will really take the blame for everything.
Off the court, he don't get enough credit for somebody that can deal with noise, somebody that could withhold comments and not hide behind their work, but let the work speak for them. And somebody that finally, when he does speak, doesn't lie. He won't lie, and he won't blame. And there's times that I literally have told him, bro, why you don't just say what happened like that? You know what I mean? If I'm yelling at him, I'm like, bro, why don't you just say it? And he would just, that's not on me to do that to that man. It's not my job to take food out of another man's mouth. I'll take the blame. Even if it's coach's fault, they'll fire him, they ain't gonna fire me. I'm gonna trust in my work ethic that I could fix this. Like, he'll take the L. This time Melo done took heat. And he'll just, I'm gonna just keep on. You know, I know it wasn't falling tonight, but and I respected that. I know I can take everything, harbor it, and I can make stuff happen. So I'm gonna continue to do that. And when me and him had that understanding, that's what made me and his relate. That's why my respect for Melo as the player came. Because I used to be the guy that was always over his shoulder like, man, you gotta get a ring or else they gonna talk about you like this.
And he would always tell me that's not his focus. His focus is on playing the game the right way, bring it to a team, and if he get it, he get it. But he can't live in his career thinking that way.
The thing about Carmelo Anthony is that you always have a chance to win. And there are guys who get their 20 points and kind of shy away from the lights when they get bright. And then there are guys that when the light gets brighter, they're like a moth and they go straight to it. And that's Carmelo Anthony. One of the most ferocious first steps of any player I've ever played against in my 14 years. His tenacity to want to help his team win, attention to detail and skill set. I think when he is done playing basketball, people will realize how good he really was or really is, and just an absolute animal and competitor.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. You know, I think it's more disappointing that people are surprised by it. And we brought him here because we knew he would make a difference for our team, and he's been doing that. So no surprises here. We expect that from him, and, you know, I'm glad that he's here to come through for us in those big situations.
The guy has endured a lot from the media, but never changed. I would say at times, you know, people tried to define him, and they were wrong, and he never listened. And the guy, I think, when we look back 20 years from now, will say we didn't appreciate Carmelo Anthony enough.
So while we got a break into action, obviously biggest news today, Carmelo Anthony announcing his retirement.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, man. I think you still got a lot of game left, but you got to look out for yourself and your mental and your well-being after a while, man. Hats off to him. Great career, man. Spent a lot of time with him, a lot of years grinding, battling together. Nothing but respect and admiration for the work that he's put in, his career.
How tough you think it was this year not being on the roster? Obviously, he looked like he could still play. He could play somewhere in this league.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know where, but do you think that weighed on him at all a little bit just to make this decision?
Yeah, just from the last few years, man. Just from him having to fight to get back in initially, him having to continue to have to prove himself. I'm saying he hasn't done what he's done in this league. Like what surefire Hall of Famer has to continue to prove themselves that he can play this game at the highest level, that he's willing to do what it takes to fit in.
I just wish that, you know, he would have got a chance to finish his career. Like every arena he played in, everyone get to give their farewell.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing that I be hating when someone who's put 16, 15 something years into the league, they don't get to go out with that last year. And I think I don't know if it was us, did we have that discussion, where would Carmelo get his jersey retired from? You know what I mean? He's gonna be one of those players that's like, it'll be him, Chris Paul. They're in this middle realm where they haven't played enough with one team to get their jersey retired. You would think Denver.
But Rita Cola wearing 15 is
yeah, so then you would think New York. So this Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer can go without getting his jersey retired. That's
crazy.
And that's fucked up.
That's crazy.
Do you see a world where they can retire?
His jersey is not being retired there. That's Joker's retirement.
Joker push him out the paint.
Two-time MVP?
I'm just
So this is what I'm saying. So you could be top 75 ever and not get your jersey retired?
Yes.
That's bullshit.
I think it's an instance where you have to double retire. I do, personally. I think that they need to put Melo up, and then ultimately Jokic has to go up shortly after. But to my knowledge, the Nuggets have never made to the Western Conference Finals. Melo took them there in 2009. I think as of right now, he's not the best player in organization history. He's number 2. So I don't understand how you couldn't have him in the rafters. But I'm sure they'll take care of it in due time. Definitely a Hall of Fame career, and congrats to him.
Man, he was just one of my favorite guys to play against. You know, to play against one of your brothers. The things you can talk about on the court, the trash talk that you guys have, it's just different. You know what I mean? We always appreciate the fact that Melo took us to Madison Square Garden. Like our matchups versus Melo, Bron and Melo, Madison Square Garden. D-Wade, Melo, Madison Square Garden. You appreciate that because that set the stage for these amazing moments that in 20 years will still be talked about from all these Hall of Famers playing against each other and being friends.
I just want to say congratulations, my brother. I mean, where do I start? Is it us all the way back in high school, sitting outside that hotel, man, all the way to the battles that we had together. I could sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours. And I'm just so proud of you, man, and so blessed and humbled to be a part of your journey. You're one of the greatest players I've ever seen play. From the very moment I saw you, all the way to me teaming up with you, with the Lakers, man. You've always been one of the greatest I've ever seen play the game. I just want to say congratulations to you, to your family, everything that you accomplished, everything that you've been a part of, your whole journey. I'm looking forward to opening some great vino, smoking a nice cigar in celebration of you. Salute, brother.